Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to Concept Pending, which is the Heroes and Villains podcast, where we talk about our process, about pop culture trends, about pop culture properties, things that we like, and how we do things. Welcome. So today I've got Mason Shar with us again, and we've got new guest on the podcast, Kenny Kirkley.
Hi.
Introduce yourself, Kenny.
Hi, I'm Kenny. I work on sales, and I'm just a Star Wars fan. So I've been a Star Wars fan not long. So I haven't read like the books or anything, but I've watched everything else possible. And I've watched Clone Wars when I was a child. So I think that's like really what got me.
Now, of course, I assume you're talking about the 3D animated Clone Wars and not
the 2D. No, I watched the 2D one. It looks like Samurai Jack.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
it is the best.
Gendy Tartakovsky is a wizard.
It's so good. The art style is great. I love how the clones look. I really wanted the toys. I like the art style more too. It's very. I mean, it's done by Samurai Jack people, right?
It is.
Yeah. So
it's nostalgic.
Yes, I love it. I have it on DVD, so I watch it randomly.
It feels like the 3D show based a lot of its look on that, like that angular kind of thing. Yeah. They kind of smoothed out some edges, but still.
Yeah, it's less Roblox, more Minecraft-y kind of.
I would agree.
I like that part of the art style.
I must admit that I don't understand the Minecraft that you kids talk about here.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Roblox, so I would agree with you on that.
I don't know anything about Roblox. I just have friends that play it, so I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have anything against it. It's just, how many hours in the day have you got?
And the Star Wars games, the Lego ones that came out of the Clone Wars show.
I loved the Lego
God, they're so good.
Those were my favorite.
Yes.
My favorite Lego Star Wars games.
They're the Clone Wars ones.
Yes.
Especially when they added Ahsoka.
I am totally wearing the wrong property for today. D&D over here.
What the hell, man?
I know.
I mean, I'm wearing Rebels, so this doesn't really pertain to anything.
Clone Wars, but also Arthur Angsty Fist. That's how I feel after watching last night's episode.
Agreed.
Sure.
Arthur Angsty Fist.
It was a rough episode.
Yeah.
Rough. So, do we want to start going through, start with episode 3 and then go and then kind of discuss
go forward? Sure.
Yeah.
So when we left off with episode 2, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think maybe my memory refreshed about what happened at the end of episode 2.
End of episode 2 was kind of like, oh, this is what's happening. We're not really sure what happened in the past that caused this, but we've lost 2 Jedi now. The third one's being hunted. May and Quagmire escape. Quagmire.
Quagmire.
It's Khmer. It's
Khmer.
Qimir. So
and you're right.
Guessing
that's
okay.
You're right. And Khmer vanished and escaped and are on their way to the planet that had the Wookiee at Kelneka, which I can't remember that planet's name. Really pretty, scary, but pretty.
Oh, Kelnaka?
Whatever that planet is scary as hell, but gorgeous. But then, so you think that we're going straight to Kelnaka in the next episode, and then the next episode is where it does the whole flashback
like an origin story and everything like that.
And all I have to say is from the get-go, May is showcasing sociopathic, murderous tendencies. She's attacking animals for no damn reason other than to just mess with her little sister.
Right.
She's manipulative to her little sister. She's awful. She terrifies me.
Don't go her way. I'll just burn you alive.
And then too, when I was watching it made me think of the whole twin dynamic anyway. Mm-hmm. Because if you really think about it, even though okay, I know this is a really weird thing to say about Leia. But if you think about it, she's the aggressor between the two of them. She's way more, she'll do what needs to get done.
Yeah.
She's way more
assertive.
Confident. Yeah, confident in her convictions. And even if it's not always right, she's confident that what she's doing is right in that moment. And May does that same thing, and Osha levels her out. Because it's kind of the same with Luke. He definitely levels out Leia in a lot of ways. But they're just two sides of the same coin, and I feel like they really show that really well with Osha, because you see them as children, which you don't see Luke and Leia because they're not together.
Yeah.
So you don't know what their dynamic could have been as children, and I think that's really interesting for sure.
I think the casting was interesting because I thought that they were going to pull what they did with adult May and Osha, and it'd be the same actress, but they didn't, and I was like, oh, okay,
Yeah.
that's kind of odd, but I'm kind of into it.
But you also see that they grow into the same person, even though they're not around each other, which is interesting.
Yeah. I don't know. And so, like, it all started out with, like, her force attacking a weird alien butterfly for no reason. And they're, like, out at some tree that's dangerous, but we don't really know why the tree's dangerous. And then we never revisit that, which was kind of weird, I will say. And then in comes Mother Coral, who is a lot. She is team a lot. She is very aggressive.
She is, but I like her.
No, I like her too. In all honesty, and I feel like you're going to understand what I'm about to say. When she first came onto the screen, I was like,
oh no.
Kanye West? Is that Julia Fox? Why is Julia Fox on this show? Julia Fox got Star Wars casted, but it wasn't her. It looked like her, though, to me. It may not have.
Speaking of which, the fact that Jackie is Logan's daughter. I cannot remember that girl's name.
Yeah. Daphne Keane.
Yes. Yeah. The fact that it's her, such good casting. Like,
She's perfect.
Yeah.
But the thing too, bring her up, since she is their mother, like you would just say that May is more her temperament.
Because I was going to say, Mother Anastasia is like very much so
very neutral, she sees every single angle of a situation before she makes a decision. And that's definitely Osha's, it's a positive trait, but also a downfall. And you kind of see that later on too.
When you make her mad, right? Remember what she does to the Padawan Jedi. Like, that might be some foreshadowing.
Right.
Also, with twins, what you're getting is there's a trope with twins in storytelling where good twin, evil twin.
Yeah.
Right. And they might be playing to subvert that eventually. We'll see. Because it could be that, people do grow and change over time. And May has already kind of shown a willingness to go against her master.
I would say go against the master, yes. Does she have good tendencies still? No. Because as it goes on,
I have not seen
the
very latest episode.
I feel like May has a piece of truth in her that we haven't seen yet.
Agreed.
That makes her act the way she does. So we might be saying, how dare her, she's bad. But that piece of truth can completely change that perspective. And I feel like you see that in episode 5 where it makes you be like, she's literally telling Osha she got brainwashed, which I've always compared the Jedi to a nunnery.
I literally wrote in my notes, everything the Jedi do is like the Catholicism taking over like South America.
Yes.
It's always felt that way to me.
And with that too, when you bring in like, this is a strong word to use of Star Wars, but gentrification.
100%.
That you literally see it happening in real time. Like they have nothing to compare the like Force to, because this is like pre them knowing Sith exists. So they have nothing to compare it to. So they just think that they're honest in their convictions, that they just know you can't be too attached. You can't be too emotional. You can't let fear sustain you from actions. Like that's all they know, but they don't know how someone can use that against them until this guy comes in and it makes them rethink everything.
But the question I have, and I've always had, is where do they get off on telling everyone that that's how it has to work? Like why do they have the final say on how the Force works?
Some ancient scroll document that they've been using for the last 100 and something years.
Well, I mean, to an extent, it's going to be like, why does a plumber know how your pipes work? But the thing is, it's not, that would be like Force users telling you how the Force works, as opposed to only plumbers from Ed's Plumbing Company telling you. Yeah.
Well, and my whole thing is like, I feel like the third episode really gave me a bad taste towards Jedi.
Oh, yes, like, 100%.
The entire episode, I was like, okay, maybe I'm not on this. Maybe I'm not on their side right now.
Very invasive, very much, your way is different from ours, so it has to be bad. Right. Like, they weren't willing to learn about this.
Well, no, because, so we hear that the Coven was outcasted. We don't really know why, but, like, in my opinion, they don't seem bad, technically. I mean, there's some culty, sketchy shit.
They do tell you that people were scared of their power before. which makes me, especially how they use the Force.
Yeah.
Well, that's not what they call it. They call it the tether or the string or something. They use it in a very Avatar: The Last Airbender type of way. Like, it's very much elemental. It's stronger in that way because that you could tell they draw from energy around them as a group, versus Jedi usually are like, 3 to 4 in a pack, if most, not a group of 20 people doing something together. And I think that's why the Jedi is scared of that. Because at the end of the day, there might only be 20 of these outcast, marginalized group of witches. Same with the Dathomir witches. Like, you see that very much as well. But they're so connected with each other, and their power is more magnified. So they're scared of that. So they would either want to wipe them out or pick them apart, like you see with May, and like bring her into their ranks so they can have it on their side, you know?
Yeah.
So again, I haven't seen episode 5, but I would say episode 3 of the series is deliberately trying to set Master Saul up as a contrapoint to a lot of that on as far as the Jedi are concerned, and deliberately leaving it mysterious because you can't
100%.
account for his whereabouts a good chunk of the time.
Well, no, and I will say all the way through
You can spoil
episode
it for
4
me.
and episode 5, it is still very mysterious, up in the air, guarded. Like, repeatedly he's saying, when we get out of here, I'll tell you and I'll explain everything. He says, I'll explain it. I'll
He
explain it.
clearly
I'll
has
explain it.
guilt on him.
something.
And all 3 of them do. You just don't, especially Torben.
Oh, Torben.
The fact that Torben was there meditating for 10 years
because of it.
because of this, like, they clearly
His hair fell out anyway.
Well, and then if you think about
gravity still affected him. He's still like,
and then if you think about Kalnaka, he's out there all on his own. And did you see everything that was around that little cabin that he was living in? He was sketching the witch designs on everything. I was like, what?
They got
what
in their,
did you
they had to
see?
have gotten in their head in some way that they're like meditating because it's so against the Force.
So
They want
can I
this
just
out.
say that Saul saying, I'll tell you when this is all over, gives me giant Ned Stark vibes.
Oh,
like,
agreed.
Like, I haven't seen episode 5, but I just feel like Saul's going to die. Like,
He didn't.
Well, maybe not in episode 5.
No, yeah, but eventually.
Yeah,
But
before...
But it does set up to be, does the child have to pay for the sins of the father? Even though, like, if you look at Padawans, that's pretty much what they are. So to that point, yeah, it's like whatever he did in the past, these twins are going to have to pay for it in some way. And
Well,
we'll
I mean,
see how
and as they go on, you see Jackie pays for it too.
Yeah.
Well, and that's the way
Yeah.
it works, is like something has been done, and until restitution is made, until some corrective measure is taken, it's, the responsibility has to pass down.
Yeah.
Right? Like otherwise, what are you even doing? You know?
Did you watch Tales of the Empire?
Yeah, that's the animated.
Yeah,
right,
the one that's all
you
about
see
Morgan
like Qui-Gon,
Elspeth.
yeah, you see Qui-Gon's origins and stuff.
So that was the Tales of the
Jedi.
Jedi. This is the Tales of the Empire came out this last year, and it's all about like Morgan Elspeth's origin story.
Mm-hmm.
So in that, when the Jedi and when the clones take over Dathomir, they like kill all the Red Witches that are in like the valley, which is all of Morgan Elspeth's people. But there's like a mountain clan that are like super peaceful. They all wear gray. Like they're all like, they're witches. They're all female witches, but it's all like very calm, peaceful. Like they only use their powers when antagonized or like to protect themselves. And that is what these witches gave me, that vibe. Like, yes, I think there's some culty stuff. Yes, there's some eerie situation about like, you created 2 children? What do you mean?
I mean,
you created
children.
I want to whack the hornet's nest here, but if you're talking culty stuff and we're mentioning the Jedi, I mean, come
because
on,
like,
man.
because like you
They
can't
take
even,
children.
I have been seeing a lot of people online question like how they created children. Literally, that is how Anakin came to be.
He was bought.
He was,
technically.
but like, even doesn't she even say that Qui-Gon asked, "Where's your father?" And like his mom's like, "There wasn't one. He just kind of
True.
happened." Like, I feel like it's exploring that piece of of that side of magic.
Oh, that is such a good point. I didn't even think
because that means
about
Palpatine would have also had to tap in to their like ancient texts or something. Like, is that where Palpatine got?
Well, but like
that
Palpatine got it from his master, from Darth.
City or not?
No,
Sidious,
he was Sidious.
he
It was
Sidious.
Darth Plagueis is the one who figured that out, because what he was doing was he was creating Force babies and then putting his consciousness into them.
But where did he get that info from? Because if this is 100 years before Phantom Menace, it's like,
I'm just being pedantic because this is a Star Wars discussion. Like,
oh no, I'm just saying, it just makes me wonder. It makes me wonder, like,
agree.
did it start with them and like their
how they
knowledge
got
just
that.
like got passed down to other
entirely
people?
possible, because it's definitely not something Jedi are doing.
No.
Right. No.
Yeah.
No. not at all. And so like we get through that whole episode, and then we like in comes May burning down the place, and like all of the mothers died, but none of them were burned.
Right.
So they didn't die from the fire, but we all said they died from the fire.
And plus, she would have killed her mother. Like, I just don't believe.
Well, I mean, I don't think she would kill her own mothers intentionally. I do think that she could have started the fire, and the fire would have taken them out and killed them, and she didn't intentionally do that.
Right.
But if you see when they walk by all of
they're all
witches,
looking as a pile.
they're like in a pile on the ground. And my question was,
why would they be in a pile on the ground if they were burned?
Yeah. Well, and they weren't burned.
Right.
At all. And my question then is like, you remember at one point, like some big electrical thing happened? Did that kill them? Are they connected, tied to that somehow? As like a unit?
It's like their energy.
And that killed them or something? Because that, like, I felt like they like panned to that and you're like, what the hell was that thing?
But also it's really convenient that the Jedi were just there. Like Soul was just there.
Also, Soul was running around like looking for the girls. Was he doing that before whatever happened with the witches? Did he do that right after, knowing that like someone had to get to the kids? Why?
Right.
Well, I feel like they said that they had just been keeping an eye on them the entire time anyway. So I feel like someone was probably just stationed there watching. And if the Jedi did not have anything to do with the witches' deaths, the fire happened and everything went to shit.
And they were worried.
And Soul was like, oh no, maybe the girls are alive. Let's see if I can save the girls. And then he goes in.
So he's like kind of the lookout watching to make sure.
Yeah, because he did seem like the lowest totem pole, honestly, other than Torben. Torben seemed like the lowest of the totem pole.
But that's what sticks with me. When Torben, like right before he dies, he says, I'm sorry, we thought we were doing the right thing.
Yeah.
Like, is it because was he apologizing for them like testing the girls and starting that whole fiasco to begin with? Or was it deeper?
Or was it like taking Osha in the first place? Like, should they have just left Osha? Like, what was he apologizing for?
So all the other Jedi who are involved in this are out in the field doing stuff or doing what they want to be doing, except Saul. He's at the Jedi Temple teaching. Maybe he wants to teach. I mean, I assume he still has a Padawan. But if he is the sort of person who tends to do what he thinks is right, maybe he was put on lookout so the other Jedi could go do what they thought needed to be done without him interfering.
True.
And then he got sidelined after this happened.
Because he clearly was way more attached to the children than the rest of them. So that would make sense too.
Well, and then my question, like at the end of the episode in general, like how did May survive alone on this? Because like if you read into this planet and you like learn more about where the witches are, I read into it and it's like, this is a abandoned, derelict planet. Beautiful nonetheless, but like no one's there but those witches.
Well, okay, but like if we take a step back and think about how the dark side force users tend to work, because they're so limited in number, they have to work covertly. They have to influence things subtly. Who told the Jedi to start looking into this? Maybe
like why were they stationed there to begin with?
Set this up in order to get one of the girls alone or both of them alone. Yeah,
because my question is like, how did the Master get a hold of May? Like, and how early on did he get May?
I mean,
because the thing is too, in the 5th episode, when Yord looks at him, he says you. Like he clearly knows who he is. And Yord, he seems like he's probably like one of his 20s. So he might have been like a Padawan when they were first discovered. So like it was someone that were they training kids. And
well, I took it as when he said you is like, oh, it's you. I saw you in that shop. That's how I took it. I didn't take it as like, oh my God, you.
That's true.
Because like he never acted like he knew who he was the entire first time they met.
Oh my God, you set my boat on fire in Jacksonville.
Yeah. He did see him before. Because I was like, oh, like I don't know. That's just the way he said it. It was
well,
just
no, but it was like... the more interesting thing there was that Soul was like, you look you something's familiar about you, and he was like, do you not remember me? So Soul knows him somehow.
Yeah.
And I don't know how. And I'm sure we'll find that out. But I'm intrigued there. But then, like, everyone's dead. The witches are all dead. The fire happens.
You see May fall. And then she goes to the tree at the end where she's clearly survived and she's looking for Osha. And that's kind of where it just ends.
Yeah. And she thinks Osha's dead.
Right. Yep. The whole time.
Yeah.
Well, she saw Osha fall supposedly to her death. The bridge fell. So, like, Osha's going to assume that May fell and there's smoke. So
well, and then coming into episode 4 when there's like this weird council of Jedi that on the council, it's like they're like the defense council of the Jedi, who apparently don't have to tell anything to the council if they don't want to, which is sketchy to me.
Yeah. That sounds like a, beg forgiveness rather than ask permission type of thing.
Well, yeah, because like they were like, oh, we need to inform the Jedi Council, and Vanestro's like, no, because then they'll have to tell the Senate, and then the Senate will think that we're bad and that we can't control things. So it's like super sketchy, back to that whole Sketchyville with her being shady. But this time she seems scared, actually.
Yeah, but like, I wonder if it's because like if it's like a kind of like they have officers that are up here that literally will just like that she knows that they will blame her specifically for this instance, and they already had a problem anyway. Because I'm sure when May and Osha were taken anyway, they probably consider that as a failure.
Oh, I'm sure.
Of a mission. Yeah.
Well, when you talk about the cover-up being worse than the crime, Vanestra, right? If she's been doing this for a while and has handled several situations like this, the notion of one of them coming to light would scare someone in that position.
And bring up everything else.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she, like, I guess we'll go back to what Doug had said. Like, she obviously, and we now know she's obviously not the master. I don't know if I think she's the Sith. I just think she is a problem. I just think she's problematic. She's very, very political.
Anybody convinced of how right they are is a problem.
Or do you think that there's something shady still happening with her? I want to believe that there's something dark and shady happening with her because I don't like her.
I feel like either there's something dark and shady about her, like she's a plant, an industry plant in there, or she just represents a time in the Jedi Order where there wasn't that political structure there. So we're saying, oh, that seems wrong because we're so used to politically structured Jedi were. Versus this could just be how they were back before they had to have that interference. Because like until this point, they don't know what the Sith are. So they think they're the biggest and the bad.
Don't they? Because the Sith...
No, they
because
don't.
that comes up in episode 5.
Yeah.
Really? Because I thought that in episode 1 or 2, Ki-Adi-Mundi mentioned that, like, it's been blah, blah, blah years.
So they do talk about what an acolyte... Like, they kind of talk about what an acolyte is, but I don't think they really have a term for it. Like, they don't know what to call it. They haven't really experienced it. Like, they just heard rumors of it happening in the galaxy.
It is odd that they would set this only 100 years before episode 1 then, because like, I don't know, so much of the but of the source material that is now considered legends and is not canon, right? But like so much of it is like old Republic stuff and Sith were around.
Yeah. They do mention them. I don't think they really like...
I don't think you said the word Sith.
They don't use that word to describe them. They just say there's a group of people that are... wielding and trained in the Force that is a problem.
But like the witches are also a problem. Is it possible that there are multiple groups doing this and they just
are grouping them all as one?
Yeah, it's a problem. Which problem is it?
And that would make sense as to why they would have been surveying them to begin with.
Also, did you see all the online drama about Quaddy being there? And then being like, he's too young. Like, he shouldn't be alive.
Cherry picking.
Star Wars fans.
Like, okay.
Based on the timeline, his species only lives this long, so he wouldn't have been alive in the first 3 movies.
And the same source material that I was watching a video on this, and the same source material that they're quoting to say that he's only X age, like, it says that Mace Windu has a blue lightsaber, for example.
Well, that's not accurate.
No,
it's purple.
This is like one thing that was released in the late 90s on CD-ROM. And like,
on floppy disk, it didn't count.
Yeah, dude. Well, and this is the sort of thing that is Legends material for a reason. It's not considered canon anymore, and it's because it contradicts so much of what they'd already done anyway. Yeah. And it's just, it's fine. Let it go. You know, if it's really important to you that Ki-Adi-Mundi be like only 100 years old at the beginning of the Phantom Menace, I guess that's fine for you, but like, why? Why does that matter?
It doesn't.
No.
Especially nobody was like watching Phantom Menace like, ooh, my favorite. Like nobody was doing that.
No. I got a thing for giant foreheads on Force users, man.
It's
like,
I pictured so many random. Why did I picture Kit Fisto in my brain when you said that?
I don't. The forehead. He had a
Kit.
Forehead. Well, and depending on how you think about it, he didn't just have one; he had multiple.
Right.
Like,
I love Kit Fisto.
I'm waiting to, and he's green, and we trust him.
Yeah, we trust him. He's a good guy.
We trust that green one. The rest.
He was great.
We don't always distrust people with tentacles either.
Yeah.
Like, just
true.
Yeah.
Speaking of Kid Fisto and Clone Wars, did you, when they boarded the ship and it was like all these like random ass Jedi that you're like, well, we're not naming them, they're dead, are getting on that ship, and you saw that one in the background where you like, look who?
In Clone Wars?
No, on this show.
Oh, on this
Yeah.
one? Oh.
Yeah,
I looked it up.
No, I did too.
Oh
It's
my
a
God.
female. It's a female version of the species, and I was like, I was like, are we fucking kidding me? Because I was like real excited.
oh my God, I didn't even notice.
Hey,
I was just like, I thought I was wrong. I was like, so I looked.
I was so excited, and then I was like, oh man, it's not. And then the next episode came, and I was like, well, they're dead, so I'm glad it's not.
Yeah, I'm really bad at catching stuff like that. Because even when Hera, like when they literally say her name in episode 8 or 9, I did not notice that at all until like I was rewatching Rebels, and I watched that again, and I was like, oh my God, they literally talk about Hera like here, so you know that she survived, and then of course she's in Ahsoka and everything. Anyway, so was that episode 3?
No, I mean episode 3 is we're now 4. So 4 is like now they're like gathering all the troops. Jackie is like having her little like class, her like baton class, and I don't know. Jackie had a lot of good lines in the 3rd episode or the 4th episode. Like she was like just spouting off like wisdom to.
She's like what,
Osha.
15 or 16?
I don't know.
Or
She is
whatever?
an icon. She is perfect. And then like Osha's like, I'm dipping out of here so I don't have to say bye to Soul.
Yeah.
And then Soul's like, Osha! In the middle of the hallway. And I'm like, why are they yelling at Osha in this hallway with crowded
People?
all these crowds? And there's like a cat woman hovering in the background.
It's like when you want a ghost and that
attention to
happens,
detail
that's
is
the worst.
I love aliens, so like I have to look at anything that is not a human. I'm like, what are you?
You picked up so much in the background.
Yeah,
I didn't even notice that.
Did you see that
I did not
cat
see the
woman?
floating cat.
Oh my God. She like hovered, like she like did not walk. Her like body just hovered in the background, and she was like this, and her head was like,
Oh my God,
it
now I
was
need
adorable.
to go.
I was like,
watch this
we need
episode.
more. You need to know who she is.
Have you seen the hyper realistic felted cat heads you can buy online that you can put on?
Those freak me out. I really hate it. Okay,
I really want one so I can walk into the
Cats?
room with my cat and be like, hi.
like the Broadway musical freaks me out. And so anything
Cat or like humanoid cat
it freaks me
you
out. Like it's just weird to me. I don't know why.
Yeah, so episode 4 is like when they're like flying. Yord's giving his little like demonstration on how things should be, and he's kind of like being cocky.
He was like, "You're a civilian now, so you don't have any say.
You get to wear this ugly civilian clothes and sit in the back.
Yeah, with this, you can't have that gun either to defend yourself because you're a civilian.
You have to sit back there with
she was like, whatever about the gun, man.
yeah,
Right.
and she was like, you have to sit back there with Basil. Basil's a tracker, and she's like, he, she, they,
We? Who are you?
What is he saying?
It's like it's to the kids' table because you're no longer a Jedi. Sorry.
And then just like her and Jackie like just like
Having
in the
fun.
back like talking and like just chilling, and I'm just like, oh, they're friends. I just want them to be best friends forever. And then they get to that planet, and Jackie's over there like translating stuff with this like very analog weird translator,
her
which
she's holding.
which really shows how
Or C-3PO.
how far back we are on like the progression of technology. In
Like
Star
C-3PO
Wars.
would never. Like
No.
would never.
Well, and then you know that she was getting sassy with them because they like got mad and he like flipped the table, and she was like, and then
Whatever.
walked off, and I was
Yeah.
like, God, Jackie, you're so cool.
She's a diva.
She's amazing. And then they like start walking through like the hills, and like Basil does his like weird screeching thing in like the
And then
side,
he just
and then Osha's
takes
like,
off.
do you know what he's saying? And then
He's
Yord comes like, well,
I picked a fancy language to learn. You Latin-speaking people suck.
Yeah, it was
because
like,
I picked
unlike
Portuguese.
the normal Padawan who picks the easy, shy Wookiee, I chose whatever Basil speaks. Screeching
Right, I
tones.
forgot. Yeah.
Did he even say? I
No,
don't even think
he
did.
says it. I just cannot remember what
No, I
it's
can't
called.
either.
Because instead of like speaking Wookiee, they picked that. He picked that.
I mean,
instead.
Such a pretentious
I'm like-
bullshit.
George's basically giving this like vibe of I spent a semester abroad.
1 million.
I went to Oxford for 3 months.
but I really liked him.
So
I
really liked him.
I love
actually
him.
really loved him, but like he was such a cliche character.
Yeah,
Like
he's
just
so
being, like,
cocky. It's like,
"Shut
calm
up.
down.
Be quiet,
You still
man."
you had your neck snapped, so
Yeah. Oh, we'll talk. We'll talk. Hold on.
spoiler, sorry.
And then like they're like, what?
I just said that full chest. I just said
That's
that.
Then they're walking through that forest, and like those trees have lumps on them, and I'm like,
Don't touch them.
Well,
They
also
look like cancerous
no, I was like,
trees.
this was like burl, like you know, like the trees that have like the big burls on it
Yeah.
that you like shave off and you make cabinet like outside of cabinet. Like
That's what they use?
Yeah, it's like they make like fancy ass wood outside exteriors.
Like the little barnacle things?
Yeah.
Oh.
And I'm like,
more you know.
I was like, that's not a moral tree. There's something in that. There's something in that.
I want to know why the Jedi didn't immediately clock that.
Well, Basil did. Little track from Basil. It was like, something's wrong here.
Are you saying because they should be able to tell the Force something in the Force was off?
Now, I wonder if the Master was, jagging with it.
Well, that or like maybe these creatures are somewhat Force
resistant.
Like maybe they can hide.
With how they take him off in a season 5 episode 5, it's not like I don't think he could control. They did not care who he was.
They didn't. The Master got swooped
and taken and had to like fight his way through them like everybody else.
I don't know. And then she touched it, and then like she like got all sad because it died because she touched it. And I'm like, well, you shouldn't have touched it. Don't touch it.
And then like they all wake up and they're like, light. Oh my God, we're moths basically. We're gonna come to you.
They were scary looking. I did not like them. They look like those silverfish you find in a bathtub. I was like, no, thank you, no, sir.
I've never experienced bathtub fish before, so
I loved in episode 4. When Maid was like, I don't need your ass here anymore. I'm going to tie you up in a tree. I'm going to act like I'm gotten caught, and I'm going to tie you up in a tree. Which I will say, he did not seem honestly, like he saw that coming.
And honestly, no, that's what put in my head that he was
100%.
That whole scene, because how he was like, oh no, you're gonna betray your master and not use this.
The entire episode, he was like dropping hints left and right of like, I don't know what they look like.
How he is. He just collects people. Like the way he said that, I was like, you collect people. You're the collector of souls, sir. It's you.
Shady.
Or he's just like, you really do need to kill one Jedi the way the Master told you to.
He'll be really upset if you don't.
It's like...
Which I will say, guess what? He didn't do it either.
Mm-hmm.
He had to use weapons and hands and shit to kill all those
Jedi. he's not the one that was supposed to do it that way.
It's like your mom saying, "Hey, you don't use a dishwasher; it's lazy. Clean them by hand." But she uses a dishwasher, and you butt it. Like it's the same.
Do as I say, not as I do.
Right, wax on, wax off.
Yeah.
And then we get back to the fact that guess what? Guess who dies immediately? We have no commentary. Kelnaka. We get another amazing Jedi that has no commentary again.
And the Wookiee,
it was cool.
The black and silver Wookiee from I forgot his name for some reason.
Was it Black Kashyyyk or no? No, because Kashyyyk is the planet that's
no.
It was Black.
I thought Black Sabbath. That's ubbing. That's not the
irony
answer.
is I like brought him up the other day and my mom like knew his
Chrysanthemum.
name. Yes, Chrysanthemum. My mom knew the name immediately. I'm like, who are you?
Is it because it's close to a flower?
Maybe.
Is that
I don't know. She loves
Chrysanthemum.
My mom loves Wookiees, so she always remembers them. And he was like an edgy like rock Wookiee. She was
he was an edgy rock.
She was like, that Wookiee is cool.
But even him, I was super sad. Like all you find out is that he's been there for like 10 years.
Drawing witch symbols on walls. Like what's going on with him?
You also know that hut had to have smelled like burned hair when she walked in.
1,000,000%.
And
how did she not know that there was? That is a very good point because
burned Wookiee hair,
and it was still like
fresh. You still see the little ripple.
I mean, it already probably smelled like wet dog in there because it's a wet planet and he's Wookiee. Like
that seems problematic. I don't think you can say that. I don't think you can say it smells like wet dog around a Wookiee. I think that's inappropriate.
I mean,
that's so funny.
I don't see any Wookiees around here.
You're right. No, you're right. There's no Wookiee crossing here, so you're right.
Yeah,
but that's just I just didn't think of that like at all. Like, because it's basically.
You have to imagine they probably can swap it. Yeah. They don't seem like they're big on grooming.
Pun intended.
And if they do groom, how are they going about it? We're talking like a cat or something. Like what's going on?
No.
Like
no, not me.
Like a Wookiee with its leg up in the air.
We're back to cats.
Oh no.
No, we've gotten.
It's like no.
Oh, God, no.
Is Chewbacca out here like
is
Chewbacca
like
right? Like
just like
long tongue, like Gene Simmons in space? What? Like
not Gene Simmons in space.
I mean, I'm pretty sure Kiss already did that.
With the fro on out here. with his spandex on, like he's in Teen Wolf. No, it's like Teen Wolf with Michael J. Fox when he's in that when he's in that wrestling outfit. That's Chewbacca getting ready to clean himself.
Now I'm imagining a Wookiee in like one of the green spandex outfits for doing green screen stuff.
Yeah.
But like you got the hands sticking out and the head, and it's just this like
Speaking of him, his suit was so bad. It just looks like he was wearing a Wookiee head, and that's it.
Kalaka?
Yeah, like I didn't like
think it was that
didn't
bad.
like it at all for some reason. I know that's like a weird critique.
No, I mean,
but
critique
when he's
away.
just sitting there like working on his ship, and Osha comes, I was like, "Hi," I was like, he just looks like a dude they just got from the street and just put on a.
Kind of
Put him into the
I feel like
Jedi
that was something
outfit.
he was
Yeah.
supposed to, like, he gave me like mechanic, like just like the
He's
old
just from
school
the street.
mechanic. Yeah.
Also, on the planet, he's not wearing his Jedi garb. He's wandering around just like,
Well, and did he even have, from what I recall from when she found the lightsaber, he didn't even have the lightsaber on him.
No,
It was like over in the
oh,
corner.
it was in the corner. Yeah, because he wasn't really using.
So like, is he just like not
dressed like
Jedi-ing
a Wookiee, like a living
anymore?
force
For some reason,
intended.
I thought that they said that he kind of like left and went off.
Well, they said that they
radar.
hadn't heard from him in like 5 years. Like that they like stationed him there, but then they didn't hear from him for 5 years, and they were like, I guess we don't care.
I guess he's fine.
Which makes me feel like they're trying to hide something by putting him out there
Right.
and didn't give a shit about it.
Because why else are they
So-
separating all these four? That they don't work together on anything. They separate them.
Well, yeah, we have-
Look,
And
Dude.
Soul is where they can keep an eye on.
Yeah, we
Right.
have Dude floating in silence for 10 years. We have Indira like out drinking with the bros.
wasn't she like basically
way far away?
wasn't she basically like a sheriff kind of sort of for that town? Like she was
Yeah, like on the outskirts of like
Nowhere.
civilization.
It's like Tatooine.
Yeah.
It's that remote.
Oh,
yeah.
it's very much like what's his name from Mandalorian.
I was thinking,
The sheriff
yes,
guy.
that
I
was
love
sheriff dude.
him.
But I also thought it was interesting because episode after they like do the testing and everything in episode 3,
Mhm.
and they show that basically like why she didn't want to lie and all the other stuff and how they really like appreciate that about her, that she's so
Well, I
truthful.
thought that was really. I thought that whole scene was really powerful. How like Soul was like, "I got you. I know you're.
I know you're lying because
Well, it's how you catch a little kid, right?
It was adorable.
Yeah.
I loved
Right.
it.
because she's like she said it was a skyscraper. It's not a skyscraper. Those don't exist.
No.
Whatever building they.
No, of course
Well,
not.
yeah,
Yeah.
whatever she says.
She said she
A
said it
mountain or
was this, and
something.
he was like, "Yes, it is." And she goes, "No, it wasn't." And then she was like, "Oh,
Oh, yeah.
wow."
But like seeing that level of honesty, I feel like that's the most you see in these like 5 episodes. Like that's the only honesty you really see. And then you go into episode 4 where she's like, they won't really tell her anything. They're like, you're a civilian, so you
Yeah.
can't be involved. And like,
You can't be in the cool kids club.
you can't sit with us, sit in the kids table.
Well, and
like, all
honestly,
of
though,
that.
as the thing goes on, I really think, and into episode 5, I think Yord was doing it more. He was trying to protect her.
Mhm.
Like, I really think Yord had a thing for her, probably.
Or saw her, either that or
As,
they
like,
were
saw her as like a sister. And like was like, no, I need to protect her because like he came off as like kind of douchey. Like every time he was like, we're in civilian clothes, get in the back. You don't have a gun, stand behind me. Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
He said all that stuff, but like as episode 5 went along, it made me feel more like no, he straight up was just trying to protect
And
her
he
the entire
softens
time.
him up. He softens up for sure.
Yeah. Oh, in
episode
episode 5
5.
for sure. And you know she has to feel bad that she dragged him back there to have his neck snapped immediately.
Yeah.
God, Jesus.
And also that just shows how, I know skipping this 5,
Good. Go ahead.
but you really see how in tune she has to be for the fact that she's
Mhm.
standing in this field and she's like, he's going to kill all of them. Like, I can feel it.
Well,
But
and
the
even at
rest
that
of-
point,
like-
everyone was dead except for 2.
Right.
Like he'd already killed all of the Jedi but Jackie and Soul.
But that like level of foreshadowing, like, I think the rest of them, they do in some ways foreshadow, but not the way she does
No,
it.
she gives like Yoda powers because
Right.
Yoda can like feel it from like 80,000 million miles away that
Right.
something has happened on this far off planet, and he like shiver and like knows
Right.
something
His
happened.
Spidey's.
But she has that same
Right.
vibe, and so does Soul, it seems.
Mhm.
But it's not everyone. They don't all have that ability, it doesn't
Right.
seem.
And it
So-
also doesn't seem like May has that either.
No.
So,
Not
like,
the way Osha does.
Why is it that the Jedi want Osha and May as far away from the temple as they can get them, right? Because Indara's the one that pushes to have Osha kicked out,
Mhm.
right? So like, but knowing how strong they are, why?
When you want to keep them close. You say that though, but we have not seen Osha use the Force at all. And every time she like acts like she's going to, she then just like walks 5 feet and picks something up.
I feel
Part
like
of it is I think
she's-
she got a block.
Yeah.
But if she had a blog,
Well, it's kind of like Sabine, where Sabine was like, I'm not ever going to be good at this. I'm
So-
just not going to try.
I feel like I'm gonna be wrong in this next season,
Oh.
but I feel like they are forcing that on Sabine, and Sabine, like, I don't feel like she's force sensitive from
She's
a
not
wield.
strongly force sensitive.
Yeah, like I feel like
They
she
say
probably
that.
is more mentally than like
Yeah.
she can't wield the force.
She can learn to do it. She's not just
She's not in tune with it.
So, like, I'm going to make an analogy to a different franchise. You've watched some of the Wheel of Time,
yes,
right?
Love it. Perfect.
If you've read the Wheel of Time books, in the books, I'm rereading them now. They talk about the Aes Sedai are kind of like the magic users of that setting. There are Aes Sedai who are so powerful that they are just going to be able to do it. And there are some Aes Sedai who are not that powerful, but can learn to do it. And like, so Sabine is one of the ones who can learn to do it, right?
And it seems like May had just had it, kind of. Like, Osha may not have it completely, or there's a block. Like, I do agree. I think she probably has it.
I feel like she blocked herself intentionally, though, because
you never. I wonder if we're gonna get a flashback to her leaving the Jedi Order and like seeing what actually went down, because I feel like that right there probably scarred her somehow.
I've been wondering if we're gonna wind up with a Rashomon style thing where we get multiple points of view on the same set of circumstances. Like, are we going to see what happened with the witches, but from a different point of view?
I would love that.
And then
we do.
I would love to see it from
the Jedi side.
The Jedi side. I would love to see it from the two mother sides as well. And that's going to make me really sad.
No, I feel like it's going to make me really, really sad because I really loved Mother Anastasia. Like, I really thought she was an icon. And Jodie Turner-Smith, I was like, okay, man.
Yes.
What?
But I feel like you're going to see it from her perspective. Like, you're going to see... Because she...
Are we going to get like a whole Harry Potter's mom thing where like she's protecting? Oh,
I kind of feel like that because she... with how in tune they are with this string or whatever pull they have, I feel like Anastasia knew it was coming. Yeah. That's the reason why she gave Osha her blessing to a degree. Like her last lesson to her was to make choices that you believe in, but be strong in your convictions. Like that was pretty much her last choice that she gave, or her last lesson she gave to her. She had to have sensed it coming, and I feel like
do you wonder if the reason that Osha can sense things at a distance and May can't.
Are you about to say that they're sharing powers?
Yeah, well, because Osha, they didn't do the ceremony for her. So they
got interrupted. But she has, because she also doesn't have, or does she? She doesn't have the tattoo.
No, she doesn't have the birthmark tattoo things.
Only May does.
Yeah, May is the only one that went through. Wait a minute. Pause. How does she have those birthmark tattoo things?
Is it one of those things maybe that like she did it herself afterwards? Because this is who I am.
Who, May? No, May got it during the ceremony. We saw it.
Okay.
Like, I visibly saw her.
You see where it shows up, because even when she, in the first episode, where she moves her hair to the side, she sees the mark.
So how is she hiding that when she acts like she's Osha?
That's what I said. There's no way.
I didn't even think about that.
That's why I said, so there's no way, because unless she covers it with something like, it's a brand. Her compact. And just like, but it's a brand.
This is not the face you're looking for.
Right. Oh.
Okay, so do you want us to tell you episode 5?
Okay.
We've
been jumping around to it.
So the last thing you remember is Osha gets... pause. We need to go back to episode 4.
Okay.
The scariest moment in Star Wars I have ever witnessed. That scary-ass thing slowly falling in the background behind Osha in all black with a teeth.
Yes.
Horrifying. That was a nightmare.
I was like, oh no. Like the little teeth mask. Also, that's a good point. That also, with that mask specifically, I find it interesting that how important those types of masks are to the Sith. Because you have that one, you have obviously Vader's, and then Kylo's, and Kylo's kind of...
Well, and then you have all the Inquisitors.
Like all of them are very similar to that original, to his mask. And I think that's interesting.
Sidious doesn't use one. Isn't that interesting?
Well, but Sidious liked to be in this.
Well, by the time that he came out, there was nothing you could do. He wasn't hiding.
Yeah,
he didn't need to hide his identity.
But he also just liked to be in the spotlight because he was annoying.
And Anakin,
he
wanted everybody to think that Anakin was dead.
Right?
Yeah.
So like, it's like, do the Sith that do put on the mask? Is it like they have the most? Are they all connected to Jedi in some way? Like, or not the Jedi, but like the origin of them is that? So that's why they hide their face. Or is it just...
I think obfuscation and deception is a part of what the Sith do, and that's just one of the physical manifestations of it.
Okay, but that was terrifying.
Yes.
Kylo Ren's a poser because everybody knows who he is, so it's not like...
Leave him alone.
He is kind of...
But he's cool.
I mean, that's the whole
He is
point.
hot,
I mean,
but
like,
it's-
come on, dude. Like, fanboy.
7,
like,
8, the last 3. I have so many opinions about this.
yeah, let's not
Let's not do
open that can of
Let's not do
worms
that.
today.
Let's not do that.
So scary end of episode 4. Episode 5, like it ends with him coming down, throwing her into a tree, knocking her unconscious, and then the red
Total Dracula vibes.
Explodes.
opens
Yes,
into
total
her getting consciousness back. The like sand
That's like
settles,
shit.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
and then right in front of her, dead Jedi.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Automatically, I was like, and no name number 4, dead already in front of her. And then like she's like, it's pretty quiet. Like you hear crickets and like the weird ambient sounds of that planet, and then you hear shoo, 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 in the like the distance, so you know shit's happening back there. And then it pans from that to like all the fighting happening. Yord has the most beautiful lightsaber.
Oh, yes.
Of like never have we seen that color before?
Well, in the games.
True.
So,
Because I mean, okay, so Fallen Order, Chef's Kiss, best. Fallen Order and the second one are so good, and you see you see that color in there, but I don't think I've
We
seen
haven't
that
seen it in the live
orangey
action.
yellow. Like I don't
It's
think
beautiful.
I'm gonna mention
I don't
something
think so.
that like
This
a
isn't the
friend group of
comics.
mine uses as like a way of referring to things, and I've never heard it outside of that. So it may be a thing outside of that. If so, tell me. But we're talking about Yord's lightsaber, right? You're talking about how pretty it is and everything, and the first thing that came to mind was, oh, he's a nickel-plated SOB. Like, you have a nickel-plated SOB or a cast iron SOB, right? Cast iron SOBs, who they are through and through. Nickel-plated SOBs all surface.
Imagine it was
Flash
cast
on,
iron,
showy,
that'd be
and
sick.
what's that?
So I just pictured like cast. I don't know,
It's like a southern
like a
lightsaber.
literally, yeah, literally that's what I
Wouldn't
imagined.
that be
That'd
great?
An old-fashioned southern
It's like,
lightsaber.
not the frying pan saber,
Yeah.
but I don't know why that's just so funny to me. I don't know. That's exactly what I pictured.
Turn it
Like
on
cast
and it doesn't
iron.
have the drum. It has a
I just
banjo.
imagine like chords.
It's like a banjo, and then it just like pulls it out like from like the actual top part, and it becomes a saber. God, speaking of that, oh my God, when he pulled apart, what's the bad guy? What is that? Does he have a name? He just
Come
said,
The master, come here.
"Come here." Okay, when he separates his lightsaber,
Yeah, he separated his lightsabers into like a little tiny,
Tiny-
like there's a little tiny like dagger lightsaber, and then the
pulls
normal.
it out, and he
giant.
like,
He's got like a wakizashi and a katana.
Yes.
basically.
Incredible.
and he just like stab, 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 and
Yeah.
I'm just like, oh my God.
It happened out of nowhere. Like I did not see it coming. It was a lot. And so like Yord fights, we see all the other Jedi just like slowly one by one get picked up. At
Mhm.
one point, you're gonna die. At one point, he
Everybody else
stabs a Jedi like through her gut,
Mhm.
and then force pulls another one and shish kebabs him onto the
Amazing.
lightsaber.
That is
It
so good.
was shocking. I was like, "Who is this? What is happening?"
This is okay. This might be strong word use for Star Wars guerrilla fighting, at least, but that's the most guerrilla fighting
Well, but like
fight tactic.
the
Well,
Jedi
I've
do a lot of
seen.
Marcus of Queensberry.
Well, no, and that was
stuff,
I
right?
thought they're
Yord
way
said. That was what
they're
Yord said, though.
calculated.
Remember when Yord said that he was like, "It doesn't make sense. None of his fighting techniques make sense." He said that. Yord
he does
called
say
that
that.
out.
So something that
That's interesting. That he
Because
said
it's
that.
less
Again, this is
calculated that way.
Legends material, right?
Mhm.
So grain of salt, but like if we talk about the main movie, like timeline and everything,
Yeah.
okay, there is a line of like epic high-level swordsmen that are the stars of those movies. That it's explained in the source material. Most Jedi at the time of Episode 1 do not train in combat lightsaber to lightsaber because who fights lightsaber to lightsaber?
And you see that
In
in
this.
5. So that was so first of all, this man just like slicing lightsabers in half like it ain't
Yeah,
nothing.
and I've never seen. He's
I
like,
was
Because
like, oh
there's
my
no
God.
guard. Why
well,
would
and he's
why
like
wouldn't
breaking
he?
kyber
Right.
crystals. Like he like snaps crystals and like
Yeah,
they'll go
and I'm like-
and then they'll start back up again, which is
Right.
weird.
It's so smart.
Well, because
It's
if you're a
so
Jedi, you
smart.
could theoretically hold the crystal together. But geez.
Yeah, he was
He was
snapping sabers left and right, and I'd never seen
And
that
so at one
before.
point they like throw their sabers to the ground, and it's just like fist to fist, and
Yeah.
it is
Hip-
so good.
Soul goes
Soul
like
goes ham.
full samurai, like I'm gonna
Yes.
beat your ass.
I'm beating you,
and he
dude.
did.
And then Jackie, when she's like trying to stop her from like stabbing her in the neck, and she like headbutts her
Yeah,
hand, and then headbutts her, and then
Jackie and May go at it, and it is one of the most. Basically, the entire episode is 45 minutes of straight combat from everyone.
hand-to-hand combat, then they'll use the sabers when they can.
There's like daggers coming out. Like May is like throwing daggers, and then Jackie gets the daggers and throws them back. And like and so like it reminds you, because that's a good point you make, because I forget they aren't trained saber to saber. They're literally they would never fight another saber fighter.
But you know who is and is probably around is Yoda. Because, like, the line is, Yoda's one of the ones trained saber to saber. He trains Dooku. Dooku trains Qui-Gon. Qui-Gon trains Obi-Wan, who trains Anakin.
Yeah.
And then Obi-Wan and Yoda train Luke.
Well, and I feel like this probably is going to be the opening to them starting to train more with saber to saber. Because, like, you see it more.
It also shows how bad it is. Like, how bad it is from a tactical perspective.
Well, no, they're super oblivious to the fact that, oh, no one else can do this. Just us.
Right.
If you also, it makes me wonder, if you really wanted to make a lightsaber that nobody else could pick up and use, you would deliberately segment your crystal, so the only way to activate it is to use the Force to keep hold it together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. It was wild. Everyone's dead.
So smart. I didn't think of that. That's
May is useless.
That's the dungeon master part of my brain.
May is useless the entire episode.
Yeah.
She is not fighting well at all. Like, she kind of held her own against Jackie a little bit, but Jackie is like, and the way that Jackie was fighting, she like has one cup on her and she's like slinging her around by the uncut. It was amazing.
It's such a...
So here's, I got a question. Like, the master, does he actually want May as a disciple?
Yeah, he does.
Or does he just want to use her as a tool?
No, he wants her to get to Osha. I think
he wants Osha.
I think he knew she was alive this whole time.
Oh, for sure.
I don't feel like it's him like, oh, you're just now real. No.
Here's something that I mentioned the twin trope earlier. Mm-hmm. Have you guys read like any like classic literature like Steinbeck, like East of Eden?
Mm-hmm.
Not that, but yes.
Okay, so in East of Eden there are a couple of twins. Right, that's the whole story's about them, basically. And there's a good twin and a bad twin. But, like, as the story progresses, it gets more complicated, right? Because, like, what you find is the bad twin doesn't want to be bad and sees what they're doing and how, like, their understanding of things becomes more complex over time. Mm-hmm. But the good twins doesn't.
Yeah.
Right? And, like, I don't know that this is where it's going, but it'd be interesting to see it go that direction.
They kind of set it up like that. Like, the last 10 minutes of it's kind of set up like that. Like, May might be trying to infiltrate them just to get close to Soul and kill him. But, like, I can totally see that be where they turn it to. Like, she's around the Jedi.
She sees that they're not
as bad as she thought they were. I feel like, but I also feel like...
But, like, if Soul gets to explain his side and we see it from his point of view in the next episode, right? Like, then
I am curious if that's what's going to happen in the next episode.
At least wouldn't be.
I'm wondering if we're getting a flashback.
Good that he can, I don't feel like there's any good thing that he can say. I feel like he'll probably do I made this mistake, but I learned from my mistakes, but it doesn't matter because you still...
Or he will explain that he wasn't technically a part of it, because I do think it was probably the other three, to be honest with you. And he was just there.
Or
like
he found out what they were going to do and he ran to save the kids.
Yeah.
I feel like I could see that. But anyway, about it, that's not going to excuse the fact that he was still with them to May. May will never... I don't think he's ever going to win May over, to be honest with you.
I mean, the one thing he would have in his pocket is that he took care of Osha.
Yeah.
The way he did, and he didn't completely turn her against
I would be curious to see if the fire thing from May's point of view would be different.
It has to be.
It definitely has to be.
Yeah. Or, I mean, because it depends. Like, I feel like most of that scene was from Osha's point of view. We do cut outside and see things May is doing, right? But it's not necessarily an emotional point of view, right? So... I don't know. Just be interesting to see where it's going.
I wonder the reason why we don't have that emotional point of view from her is because she thinks her sister died that whole time, and she's being told that holding on to that would make her weak.
Or so that's why she thinks her sister was doing something wicked, and so, or both.
Yeah. Or both.
You know.
So
I'm trying to yes and over here.
Yord gets hurt at one point. He like puts a saber through Yord's leg, and so he limps off with Osha, trying to get Osha to go back to the ship. Because Soul tells them to. Mm-hmm. And they get a good distance away, and then Osha does her whole, that's so Raven.
I can see the future. I feel them. Yeah. They're going to
And die. She's like, he's going to kill them all. And she's like, Yord, we have to go back. And then they wander into that forest with those scary bug things again. And I'm just like, great.
Yeah, because she, but then you see she also has a plan because she purposely turns on Pip after she says, turn off your lights because that'll track them. And she like leads them back to the fight scene. Yeah.
And so then it pans back to the fight scene. Soul and Jackie are like beating the hell out of him, to be honest with you. And then Soul gets like thrown to the ground, kind of knocked silly, knocked
out, like hit a tree.
Like he comes to though to see, unfortunately, Jackie has him, and like she is like has her saber against his, and like is blocking it, and like has him caught. To be honest with you, and then all of a sudden he does the whole little snap thing, and it comes off, and he grabs it and goes, stabs her 3 times in the chest.
But wait, you skipped an important part with her though. When he hits her saber and it hits the crystal some way and it makes it malfunction, and she picks up
Kilnaka.
I'm gonna say kielbasa. That is a sausage. I'm hungry. I'm sorry.
That'd be a hell of a lightsaber.
Right.
Yeah.
Picks it up and she has a
double wielding green sabers.
She has the very Ahsoka vibes, one long, one short, and like does.
And she's kicking ass. And then he jabs her with a short, tiny dagger saber in the chest 3 times, and she's dead.
Oh, man. Yeah.
Horrifying.
So he has a shiv in his hand.
Yeah, he literally takes it out and goes.
And then he's like, and then Soul's like, she was just a child, and he goes, you're the one that brought her. And I was like, oh shit.
And then he talks about her like she's a pet. Like he's
he was like.
Oh,
that's
dead?
Its name. That was its name.
He calls
her an it. It was disgusting. Like, it was very upsetting. And so, like, that all happens, and then Soul starts fighting him, and then out of nowhere, in comes Yord. He picks up that helmet, and Yord
uses it as a shield, basically.
No, it hits him in the head.
He does, but also he uses it to block. Yeah. Like, he like tries to hit him back, and uses the block, and destroys it. He throws it, and then, like, they're going at it.
And then they're going at it.
A couple of questions, then, are referring to Jackie as it. Right, is deliberately dehumanizing language.
1,000,000%.
100%.
Which you do in a situation like that in order to make it easier to
cope with it.
Yeah, to do the sorts of awful things you're doing.
Well, because even when it happened, because May is there, May was shook.
Yeah.
May was like, you could tell May was visibly upset that he killed Jackie.
Well, I just wonder, are we going to find another one of these Dark Force users training him? Because, like,
I feel like for sure. I feel like he for sure has a master. Every master has a master.
Part of me feels like he was a Jedi. He was a Jedi or something. Got kicked out. Yeah.
Yeah.
By Soul, probably.
Which makes me wonder, or Soul uncovered something he was doing, or Soul something, right?
Yeah. And so then, like, Yord comes in, hits him with the helmet, separates Soul and him. Yord's like, you? Because he realizes the dude from the, like, market from before. Him. And then he's like fighting him briefly, like it's a brief fight, and he does something and somehow ends up behind Yord and then just him or snaps his neck. It was like full Scarlet Witch snapping what's his name's neck in the last Doctor Strange movie. It was horrifying, and he like falls to the ground. Osha's there. Osha's like, everyone is shook. Everyone's upset.
Well,
he's like,
shit. Yeah,
and then. She grabs Pip, who has the light on Pip still.
Tells him, I love you,
Tells
Pip.
him, I love you, Pip, because, like, basically she's sacrificing Pip, and it's really upsetting, too. It's like, we've lost 3 of the characters we all love.
I almost cried.
I did, too.
Pip, not Pip.
And then she, like, jams it on his back, so the light's on his back where he can't reach it. And then the bugs are just
come and, like, pick him up and, like, take him away, and it's just like, Pip.
And, like, he flies away, and, like, at one point, May tries to run away during the fight, and Osha shoots her with a stun gun. Yeah. And so she passes out in the distance. But no one is paying attention to her, which is a mistake because she's a problem.
Wait, before that, though, May also confronts her old master, and he's about to kill her because she's still handcuffed. Yeah. And he's like, you're going to betray me. And she's like, oh, I was weak, master. I'm sorry. And that's when he says, I would love a disciple like Jackie, because she's loyal. She's a loyal pupil, and that's like when they like have their weird fight, and she like escapes him.
Yeah, and he was like he like dehumanizes Jackie later on, but like at one point is like Jackie is like a good pupil. Like she is loyal. She cares. You're not loyal. You're not. Blah, blah. And then he kills her and treats her like a dog. It's very weird.
So that makes me wonder if he's doing it deliberately to get under Soul's skin.
For sure.
Yeah,
for sure he is. Like, he has it out for Soul. Like, it seems like he is really targeting Soul this entire time.
That's what makes me think that he was an ex-paddler or something that left the order.
Because it goes to the point where he's like, don't you recognize me? And Soul's like, something about you is familiar.
I wonder if he's the one that sent the Jedi after the Coven.
Oh, for sure. We think so.
Who?
Who? You mean?
Kamir?
Oh, I thought we already thought that was the case, probably. No, I agree with that completely.
Yeah. That would,
I don't know.
Yeah, because I was like, he wanted one of the daughters.
Yeah.
I mean, he probably wanted May at first, because even when they're training as children and they're like sparring, she's way more powerful and very committed and everything, but she also doesn't think before she acts versus Osha does.
Well, she's a lot more emotionally driven than Osha is.
Yeah.
Well, also, do you want to train someone who's going to be that much stronger than you?
Also true. And so,
or do you want someone you can?
Everyone's dead. He gets flown away by these bugs. We just assume he's dead. I don't know why anyone made that assumption. Like, there's no way those bugs were going to kill him. Like, we should have all known this. May gets back up. We don't see it. May then stun gun shoots Soul. And then May and Osha have this moment, and like, you think it's going well at first. Like,
you definitely feel the tension, like they don't trust each other. Like, they're like, you're my sister and we're all that matters now. And they like hug each other and they're crying.
And then Osha turns around and gets behind her. She's like, you're under arrest. And I was like, what?
Whoa.
I was like, okay, Osha.
Like, I forgot that these are still space police. I forgot.
You tried to burn me alive and killed my family, so...
Yeah, no, and she said that. She was like, you're under, like, you're going to face the trial for killing all these Jedi.
And plus killing our family.
And killing our family with that fire. And then, like, May's pissed. And then, like, her and May fight for a split second. And then May beats her ass.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
and knocks her unconscious. So. And then she switches the clothes. She cuts her braids off.
Which was so dramatic. Like, she literally...
Oh, the braid cutting was wild. It was honestly really cool.
Moment. It's very much a, like, put her hair back and lift the sword. Like,
yeah, it was amazing.
Clean cut.
Cuts the braids off, puts on her clothes, goes and finds Soul waking up, and she's like, are you okay, Master Soul?
Even the way she talked, she was like, where is she?
Well,
she's
and
like,
then the way she walks is like...
She's gonna try and play into like the Jedi, like people sucking up to the Jedi. I bet that's gonna tip Soul off.
Well, you can tell Soul seemed not right about it, and like the way she walks is so fucking weird in comparison to the way Osha walks like a normal person.
Well, she walks like she's wearing a full set of armor, which she was for a long amount of time. She had that whole breastplate situation, and she still walks like that, even though she's wearing Osha's clothes.
And so she leaves Osha like in a bush, basically, and then you see Soul and May get back on the ship. They're like walk all the way back. They walk through that village. Everyone in the village is doing their villagey things. They get back on that ship, and then it pans really quick to Basil picking up
a little piece of pip,
and smelling it and being like, and he like,
and like wanders off.
And then he wanders off, and then you see him get on the ship where they are, and you see him smell Pip, and then you see him look at May, and you see him go. And then he smells Pip again, and he's like,
"This isn't what I'm used." Like he's clearly...
And so, like, you know that he is about to blab for sure next episode. And then it pans back to Osha unconscious, and the Master, having killed all the bug things, comes over and like says something like it was like.
I was about to say if he's after Osha, then this is what he wanted.
Emphasis on her side being cut by a saber. Like I don't remember if she got cut before that or if May did it.
Oh.
Like I don't because they when they like pan over her, they put like an emphasis on the fact that she has like a little like it looks like a saber hit her on her side. And then it's like, oh, and he says something about like...
Well, and then again, the dark side users have healing arts.
Oh, and he heals her. Yeah. He does. He heals her. Yeah. He does. And he says something, and I can't remember verbatim what he said because I watched it like 2 a.m. last night, but it was basically like, it was very nice. It was like, I understand, like, people like leave you, but like
he clearly knows that it's not May.
Oh
like,
yeah, he for sure knows. And then he puts his like robe over her to keep her warm,
right.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's how it ends. Like he doesn't leave her, which I'm assuming he's not going to.
Well,
knowing him,
which I feel like if how he just showed up, it's like what if he was like that with the fire? Like when he just showed up and just found
May.
Yeah, and just kind of like set her out because he clearly set her out to let her go because she goes back to that tree.
Also, do we think that Soul is going to reveal to May thinking she's
that's
Osha?
What he's supposed to, but I don't, and I agree with Kenny. Kenny and I talked about it on the way walking over here. I think Soul knows it's not her. Like, there's no way.
He's definitely playing into it. There's no way.
I think he's playing into it, and I think he will probably say it knowing it's May, though. Like,
Yeah.
I don't think it's that he was... Because he was planning... He even said that he was planning on telling May and Osha both when they got back on the ship. Like, he did not plan for them not all to go back together.
Yeah.
Right.
But then they just left
Which
all
is
the
also weird that he just left. He didn't even go to check. I don't think he doesn't go to check on
any of the other
May.
Jedi.
Yeah, like he doesn't go check that she's like he just takes Osha.
Well, but like they know
at
that
her word
they know
that
the
it's not
master's
dead.
alive probably, and so like, do you want to risk anybody else dying?
True.
Right.
It's true. It's
I
also
just can't imagine leaving Jackie's dead body.
or, like you're right. I thought it was weird he didn't bear. I know that's like
We
I don't
don't know he won't come back in force.
That's true. So I don't know. Do the Jedi bury their dead? Like I don't know if that's
They
No,
burn
that
their
goes
dead,
to
they
the
incinerate
pirates,
them.
remember?
Oh, they do like Viking
Qui-Gon. They had the
funerals.
Viking.
If the body doesn't disappear on its own, they incinerate it. Yeah.
But yeah, Jackie's death was the most heart-wrenching thing.
I
that
believe
I've
it.
ever... Well, and honestly, yours was too. Those two both really hit.
I didn't expect
So-
Yor to die. I don't know why I didn't.
I expected
just
Yor to
didn't.
die. I did not expect Jackie to die.
Speaking about the Sith healing arts earlier, Sidious leaves Anakin in the state he's in at the end of Return of the Sith, or Revenge of the Sith, I should say.
I think that was purposeful.
Oh, yeah, no, he wants him to know.
I made you like
I want you to remember what happened.
Oh,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah, and what you are.
Remember that the Jedi betrayed you.
Mm-hmm.
Obi-Wan did this to you.
Yeah.
You burn.
Yeah, it's nuts.
But yeah, so it left us with a big cliffhanger on multiple ends,
Yeah.
but I'm still loving it.
No,
I just
I've
wish-
been enjoying it so far.
Kelmaka had more of a role.
Yeah, I hate that he just died. I mean, because you don't even really see like even the flashbacks. You see him, but they don't talk
Well,
about.
no, I feel like you get more, like you don't even get much of a background on Torben, but like you at least get some commentary and like a vibe of who he is as a person. And Dara seemed like a bitch the entire time.
Maybe it's that they didn't want to overshadow what was going on, right? So like, but then why bring the Wookiee in?
Yeah, why?
To begin
Why
with.
tease us?
I feel like it's just really a waste of a Wookiee. Like a Wookiee Jedi. This is a waste of a Wookiee Jedi. Like, we've never really had a Wookiee Jedi that we've, like, followed. And we had one and killed him within 2 episodes, and he spoke, like, 5 words. And
Right.
shy Wookiee.
And the
I mean,
next time you that one that's in Rebel or Clone Wars, is
the
that
little
Clone
child
Wars?
one.
The little child
I love
one, and you see him again in Rebels. Yeah.
I mean, is it just that we want to see a Wookiee Jedi lose his lightsaber, tear his opponent's arm off, and then beat them with it?
Yes.
Yes,
Okay.
like a club.
But I also just like Wookiee. Like,
No,
I'm
that's
and honestly, I'm just, like, kind of sick of human Jedi. Like, can we have some main characters that aren't humans? Like, thank God for the Ahsoka show, because, like, she's not a human.
Yeah, but she's a humanoid, though.
Yeah, I would like a
so-
show where like one of the main characters is legitimately
An
not
alien in
human.
some way.
So
yeah.
there has to be some extremely dark stuff that happens after episode 3 and before episode 4, since all of the aliens seem to be pushed to the margins,
100%.
but we don't see it happen, right?
Well, no, because even if you think about Andor, all the like rich uppity people that are in Andor, they're all humans.
Mm-hmm.
There are no rich uppity aliens really,
No.
at all, which is very interesting that you say that.
I just kind of assumed that they were enslaved by like the Hutts or a similar type of organization.
Or on the core planets in the center of near Coruscant, they were all exterminated or moved out or whatever.
Probably.
Right?
Like, they were just scared of them because like even like when those witches talk about how they were murdered before, they pretty much was like people were scared of them because they were different than everyone else.
Well,
That seems
So
to
that
be
was-
how everything happens on this.
that was orchestrated by Sidious. Again, killing of the witches, right? Because he's running that by then.
Yeah.
But like witches later on ally with the Empire.
Yeah, it is interesting
yeah.
that they like don't. It's interesting because like
He's
I
a
feel
smooth
like
operator, is what we're saying.
I guess because like I feel like those witches, especially the red witches, they hold grudges. I feel like they're
Mhm.
grudge holding witches, and I'm kind of shocked that they went back to help and join forces after they were the ones that had killed them.
Yeah, because even Ventress,
Well-
Ventress is interesting that she would join us at all in some
Yeah.
way because it's like they're still making some sort of an alliance. And like honestly, I thought she was the only alien like that for a while because Ventress was really the only one that I saw when I was younger. So going to find out that it was just like the witches in general bonded with different groups was interesting versus just sticking with
Well, I
themselves.
feel like the reason that we don't see a lot of the witches is that by the time that we get the first films, they've almost all been wiped out
or pushed to the
by-
outskirts
Yeah.
already.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
I could
So
comment.
some comments from online.
Okay.
Get some opinions on these. Commented, you think her sister saying "I'll kill you" out of the blue was great writing? because like when she burns her, but I don't know that it was out of the blue.
We hadn't talked about that.
Oh, I know. It's when she was like, I won't let you become a Jedi. I'll kill you first.
Yeah.
And then she like closes the door and like sets it on fire.
But
like,
I don't think that was. I don't think that was out of nowhere.
No, I think she had premeditated that.
Well, she'd been hinting that like, no, you have to go along with this. You're one of us, right? Yeah. And that like the whole thing with the butterfly and like the tie with serial killers and the weird lack of empathy and stuff. That I'm not sure that I agree that was out of the blue. Yeah, coming from a guy who has a podcast about the entertainment industry where special access to promotion from favors is rampant. Take it from a fan with no skin in the game. The Acolyte's trash. Okay, I was actually thinking about this earlier. I didn't. So, like, this was on the one that got posted with me doing the AMA.
Yeah.
Like, we don't actually get that much special access.
No.
We have to watch this the day it comes out.
Well, I'm watching this on my own personal Disney Plus that I pay for.
Yeah. Like, I haven't watched it yet because it came out overnight, and so I'm not ready for today. So, like, we don't actually get that much special access.
Well, no, and I mean, like, it's not like we're being paid by Disney to do this. Like, I am just a
strongly
super fan.
Opinionated.
I'm a super fan of it. And honestly, like, yes, are there flaws in some of the shows that we've gotten in some of the movies we've gotten from Star Wars? 100%. But anyway, about it, like, I'm just happy to get Star Wars content. Yeah. Like, I don't care at this point. Really, so I do care if it's bad.
I'm just here's the thing: that Star Wars is trying to evolve with the current audience that is watching it.
I agree,
and a lot of people don't like that.
Saying it's trash is not actual criticism. A criticism would be, okay, so in this scene, this specific thing happens. Like the previous one is closer, but like I said, they have to like recontextualize it, provide a context around it.
I just don't know how you can
say,
sense. Especially after episode 5, I don't know how anyone could say that the show's trash. Like it was the most incredible fight scenes, the settings,
but we're looking at it from a...
So these comments are from before episode 5
came out. I mean, but in general, like the fight scenes in general have been amazing.
But I think we're looking at it because we're not hung up on the small details that a lot of people are hung up on. Like I've seen online people complaining about how Star Wars is woke now because there's black leads and
woke
there's
is such crap.
I hate that word, but like it's bad because there's queer mentions in it and like how like it's all women and there's like people like just like complaining about saying, oh, they're so woke, and it's like I don't understand because when I'm watching it I don't pick up on that type of stuff.
Well, I feel like the whole show, I feel like Star Wars in general has always been about fighting for the underdog and the oppressed is what it's always been.
Well, I mean, originally it was about Vietnam from the Vietnamese point of view.
So like I feel like that is just
Lucas against everything. 100% makes sense.
Oh yeah. No, the Empire's America. Mm-hmm. And the rebels are the Viet Cong. Like George Lucas has gone on the record saying that.
I mean,
that is not me interpreting it.
I just thought that it was a reference to like Nazis. To be honest with you,
I did.
Well, I mean,
that's what the stormtroopers were based on, is the Nazis.
Yeah, well, that's why they're called stormtroopers. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a thing, a mistake a lot of people make, where you are drawing conclusions based on limited evidence, and it is extremely hard to not do that. Everybody wants to do that. It's, but like it does you a disservice to make those sorts of conclusions.
Well, right? I just also feel like, what's the point of going into watching something if you're just going to be overly critical and hate on it? Like I go into everything
because people enjoy that.
I don't get that though. Like I go into it looking for the positives so that I can enjoy it. Like if I'm going to watch it and I'm going to spend time watching it, I want to enjoy it. I don't want to just be sitting here being critical.
Or how it ties back to pieces that I liked before. Like for instance, I know a lot of people don't like that Amazon Lord of the Rings show. A lot of people hated it. I'm a big Lord of the Rings fan. I loved it. I loved there was things about it I didn't like, but I loved how it answered questions that I had. It like extended stories that I wanted more info on. That made it worth watching. Is there stuff in it I did not like? Sure. And that's how I feel about all of the Star Wars shows.
And the Marvel show. I mean, it's how I feel about all of them. Like, yes, there are some that sometimes there's some bad acting. Sometimes there's bad casting. Sometimes the graphics aren't great, She-Hulk. Sometimes, like, there are issues here and there, but, like, overall, it's still feeding into the world and the universe that I want to be a part of. Yeah. So, you're wrong.
I've just seen that so much, like, so many comments saying Star Wars is woke now. Yep. I'm not going to watch the show because of the main showrunners are woke. And it's like, I don't understand.
The first thing, like we were just saying, right? Like, from the beginning, this has been a thinly veiled political allegory.
100%.
That if it were made today with that intention, it would be considered woke.
Yeah.
Literally
right?
all of the... You can't be a Marvel fan.
You have to ignore
if you don't know
the stuff
that
you don't
too.
like to be able to say that it's just becoming woke.
Yeah, because the heroes were built out
Right.
for marginalized
Right. Literally, people say
populations,
something about Marvel. Oh, now the Marvel's becoming woke. It's like, that's literally what they were... The
Based
principles they
on.
were based on
Yep.
was helping the little man and stuff like that.
Like, I mean, Jack Kirby was a Jewish man who went to World War II so he could beat up Nazis. And then came back and, was making superheroes that, beat up Nazis. So, yeah. Anyway, that's otherworldly dedication, but he has a Korean accent. His Master Soul is supposed to be Korean. And I'm like, he's a space wizard, dude.
And also,
Well, I mean,
almost all of them have British accents, which is weird.
so what does it matter? Have we ever questioned why all these people have British accents, American accents? Like, no, it's just what it is.
It's just like...
Like what accent what is the Coruscant accent that you would like these people to have? Can we question that? Like,
would it be Brooklyn?
Brooklyn? Would it be deep Southern Alabama? Would it be someone with a drawl coming out?
Naboo.
Oh, you're right. That is Naboo.
Hey, y'all.
Bit of banjo out
Honestly,
there.
that is Naboo.
Yeah,
creek.
it is.
They out there on the creek doing this right here.
I'm just imagining if you went back and changed all of the Gungans to be like,
they needed to.
hey, y'all.
I feel like they kind
That
of
would
already
be
did
even
that.
more
It would be
racially
more
charged than it
problematic
already was.
This is an imaginary world that we're putting in real world actors into. They're going to have accents no matter what.
So, what planet is he supposed to be from that he would have an American accent?
Well, but I mean, if you look at Coruscant, there's always been humans and humanoid species that all have different language no matter what.
Right.
So, like,
Obi-Wan and
how do we know that this Star Wars realm doesn't have an Earth way back?
Dude, that reminds me
and that someone is Korean traveled all the way through this.
I'm going to pick a fight with a different fandom real quick. Something dumb I saw online a few years ago. Dungeons and Dragons, right?
There's a lot of
so
there.
There's in the game, the lingua franca, everybody can speak basically is called common. Okay. Now, when I'm playing with my friends, we speak English because that is our native language. We all speak English. In Portugal, they all speak Portuguese. In Italy, they speak Italian, right? Et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So the argument was, well, no. In Italy, common should be English.
No, shut up.
Yeah, no.
Are you really?
I am
Who
for
said
real.
that? Just normal dweeb
People
Knobs
commenting.
on Reddit.
Knobs on Reddit. Well, I don't count them as people.
Oh, well, sure. Okay. Anyway.
Like, no.
Yeah, no, he's not supposed to be Korean. He's an alien space wizard. What do you want, dude?
That's such a weird comment. And honestly, I really found that the most refreshing thing about him
agree.
is that he had the accent.
I'm glad that we didn't, and pardon the terminology, I'm glad we didn't whitewash him.
Yeah.
I'm glad that we weren't like, you need to speak proper
English, whatever that means.
I mean, the fact that he went to that much trouble
To
at
just to
all.
learn
It's
the
endearing
English.
itself.
Right.
Like,
And his English is so good.
I'm sorry, his English is better.
His
than
English is
some
better than
English-
Jackie Chan most of the time.
It's so funny. So I just rewatched Rush Hour 1 through 3 recently, so it's funny. But,
And I'm not saying that Jackie Chan's English is bad, but
but even in those movies, like if you watch the bloopers for those, like this is random, but he the blooper where he's supposed to say freeze and he thought they were saying cheese and he kept saying cheese over and over again and they were like, no, it's free. Like he didn't understand.
Like Arnold Schwarzenegger out those commercials where he can't speak English. Yeah.
But like even then, like I respect the hell out of them for that because they
agreed.
literally had to learn like on the spot to get like the emotions correct,
Yeah.
like based off of them saying it too.
I
Like
will
it's just
say,
such a beautiful thing.
it reminds me of Laura Dern playing Holdo, which is going to make other people mad. But like,
I love that.
But no, hold on. Her not being able to fire a blaster without going pew pew is adorable.
I love
I also wouldn't be able to fire a blaster without going pew
Pew
pew.
pew. Yeah. Like, I mean,
everyone gave a lot of shit about Laura during this whole day, and I was like, you leave my cotton candy haired princess alone.
Also, we got like the best anime moment in Star Wars when that ship jumped to light speed and cut through.
Yeah.
It was amazing.
I still feel like that should have been Leia, but whatever.
Or she's dead.
I know, but I'm saying I wish they had have like, instead of killing her, then I wish they had to let her go down with the ship.
Right? Let her be the one to do that.
Honestly, they probably would have.
If she hadn't have passed,
I know. Unfortunately.
Yeah, I think she passed after that.
I think that really derailed a lot.
How much you want to bet that was in an early draft and Disney was like, you can't kill Leia
here, like that. But I feel like it would be respectful to her. She was a warrior, dude. Like, let her go down with her ship. Like, I feel like that would have been.
Also, it's an incredibly Leia thing to do.
Yes, 100%.
Well, I guess we should probably wrap it there. I'm just going to end it with a plea to Star Wars and Lucas and her personally to please get Michelle Yeoh on this Star Wars.
Also, let's find out that Jackie is alive.
Oh my God, please. If Jackie somehow comes back to life, I will never be.
We witness her get like.
She's an alien. We don't know where her vital organs are.
That's a good ass point, actually.
I mean, we're talking about a franchise where
fair.
Darth Maul got cut in half and just shows up later with robot legs.
Little chicken legs. His little chicken robot legs. God, I love chicken robot.
End of episode.
All right.
Prayers for Jackie to be alive.
Yeah. Hey, Kenny, you want to close it out this time? Or you just gonna be like, thanks for tuning in to
sure.
Concept Pending, Heroes and Villains podcast.
Thanks for tuning in to Concept Pending, Heroes and Villains podcast. Come back and see us.
You guys can come find us at Heroes Villains on various social media platforms. You can visit our website at heroesvillains.com. All right. Thank you both for being here. Hope you'll come back sometime.
Yeah, thank you for inviting me.
Love the Acolyte. Love talking about nerdy stuff with you.
Oh, nerd stuff is the best.
All day.